y'all. But when Mooney Long said,
right? We don't put our hands on each other, right? And we don't disrespect each other. If that's constantly happening, you gotta go. You know?
Block.
You gotta go. If you can't express yourself without resorting to violence, that's a no-no. And you take that how you want to take that.
that's on period, okay?
Don't let your hair get in the way. Can't be defined by your mistakes. You know you try really hard. But sometimes you fall. Yeah, sometimes you fall.
You working on yourself and you doing, if the nigga want to be a nigga, that's what he gonna do.
So you guys, I wanted to come talk to you about just this short little clip I came across where Mooney Long was talking about, or shall I say open up a little bit about why she ended her marriage. Little story time. So I went live with another DV advocate, I'll say a few weeks ago, right? And one of the girls asked basically, how can you tell your story, or how do you explain what you've experienced or whatever to another individual, or something along that line. And I really didn't have an answer. I'm gonna be honest with you, I was kind of stumped. I'm realizing now why I was kind of stumped. I was kind of stumped because the simple answer is you have to be unapologetic in your decision to leave and protect yourself. People are always going to have something to say. People will gaslight you. Yes, you will go from the abuser gaslighting you to now victim blamers gaslighting you. And there's a whole psychology behind why people victim blame that I will get into at some point in time. Here's the thing. It didn't take me too long to get to that space. And the reason being is because, and I want you to also think about this, because I know this isn't just my story. It's just the way that the world is today. People mind their business, y'all. People mind their business. Not only do people mind their business, but even when it comes to law enforcement, which, girl, I'm about to watch Andrea Kelly's interview where she speaks about how law enforcement failed her. A little backstory, because I'm not sure if I ever told you this, or if it's like vlogs down the line or whatever, but law enforcement doesn't really protect you. It sounds terrible, but there's just not a system for DV survivors that actually works in their favor, which is why I will always say go to a shelter first, because a shelter can put you in contact with police if needed, but the shelter is also going to aid you in what you need to do to survive, what you need to do to safely get out, and so on. And I say this because, y'all, when I was going through it, I am going to tell you, there was one time, and they didn't even really step in to protect me. It was two young boys riding a bike, and he was choking me up against the car. And y'all, listen, I told y'all, by this time I was a little like depleted, like I just wanted to over with. And it sounds very, very terrible, but you guys are going to understand, because I'm sure you have been there. I was almost at the place where I was like, look, just unalive me at this point. Just unalive me at this point, because I do not want to continue to live in this, right? What I'm going to say right now, I want you to listen to me and listen to me clearly. If you are in that mindset, get the fuck out. That is not okay. It is not okay for you to rather seek being unalive than continue to be in that environment when all you have to do is leave. I'm not saying just jump out there. Create a plan. Please, please, please create a safety plan. Use your resources. Tap into your tribe. Hopefully you haven't let this man isolate you, and you have your family and friends to lean on. Even if he has isolated you, there is a way to come and address things with your family and friends so that they can assist you with this, okay? But yeah, y'all, I literally had one set of young boys ask me if I was okay after them witnessing him choking me up against the car. Anytime something happened in public, y'all, I was in I want to say Christmas Eve, okay? Christmas Eve, or the day before Christmas Eve, okay? I was in the parking lot of my apartment fighting for my life with this man. This man is out there in winter with a white beater on. I had a coat on because I ain't crazy. He tore my coat up. Like, we were out there scrapping in the parking lot. Not a police call, not a person coming to try to break it up. Listen, these men, y'all, I don't even want to go on the soapbox about the lack of protection of these men, because it's so many layers to how they protect women, specifically black women today, that will have us here forever. So anyway, so I want you to think about the times that you was in there and no one came to assist you. No one came to assist you. The many times that he has cussed you, oh my God, y'all, one time, and these are people that I knew. These were people that I knew, and I was highly embarrassed. At my son's football game, I mean, verbal assault after loud, to the point where I had to go get my son in and leave. I had to tell him we have to go because I couldn't stand out there anymore being embarrassed by this man on this emotional tantrum, shall I say. And these people knew me, and they still did what? Mind their fucking business. I say that because I want you to remind yourself of this. I want you to remember those moments. Anytime you feel like someone may be gaslighting you, questioning why you left, questioning why you protected yourself, stand unapologetic in that shit. The only person who was going through that was you. And the only person who was going to save you was you. Period. I love the fact that Mooney Long responded so unapologetically to Cam Newton. So unapologetically. And that is my answer, y'all. That is my answer. Get to a place where you can be unapologetic. You should be, like, almost immediately. But I understand sometimes, like I said on that live, there is a chemical change in your brain when you're in an environment like that for so long. So sometimes it takes some work, and sometimes to get back to who you are, who you need to be, and to have that strength where you can stand in that shit coldly. That was the other thing that I definitely spoke about most recently. You got to be cold about that shit sometimes. Any sign of a weakness or opening or doubt that they may see in you, they will capitalize off and wiggle their way back in. So you really have to be almost stone cold and unapologetic about your decision to leave. You have a high obligation to protect yourself by any means necessary. That man also has a high obligation to protect self. And when I say that, I'm saying if he know that his actions could lead to jail time if you call, then he has a high obligation not to put his hands on you. I need you to get in a space where you do not react off of what the receiver is saying to you, right? So when you tell your story, do not tell your story based on what you think is going to be received by them. Do not tell your story based on what you think they're going to say. Do not tell your story based on what you think they're going to think, right? Tell your story the way you see fit. With that being said, also, minimize the details. In the beginning, minimize the details. I don't want you to continue to try to have them experience what you experienced. No one's ever going to experience what you experienced because every situation is unique. It is impossible to get someone to experience or feel what you felt in that moment. We cannot ever duplicate that feeling for somebody else by way of telling our story. So keep it short and cute, you guys. Just be like, it was an unhealthy environment for me, and I could no longer continue to live that. Like, keep it to 2 or 3 sentences. Do not go down the soapbox of every detail. You do not owe that to anyone. Now, what I will say is when it comes to your family and friends, especially if you was isolated from them or there was manipulative tactics that was used that prevented you from being able to continue to foster relationships with family or friends, or create some type of tactics used to estrange you from your family, then yes, it may be worth a conversation to give a little details to them as to what happened. But more importantly, I want you to focus on explaining to them where you're going with it. You could say why you left, but this is your plan to heal. This is why you're healing. And apologize. Always, always apologize for your contribution to whatever that situation may have been. A lot of times you guys are estranged from family and friends because you're taking up for this man. A lot of times it's not that your family and friends don't know what's going on. It's that your family and friends ain't standing for that shit. And because you so hell bent on being with this toxic ass man, you continue to side with him, and your family and friends not gonna stand by you and accept that shit. So apologize. Apologize. I just wanted to do this video to remind you, you owe no one nothing. Nothing. Not an explanation, not a excuse. Please stop making excuses for that man.
Okay, y'all, before I end this video, I want you guys to watch the full clip. It's pretty short, but I want you guys to tap into what Monie Long says in regards to trying to change a man or being patient and waiting for him to change. Sometimes y'all need to hear it from your face, because hearing it from somebody you don't know doesn't always hit.
Vulnerability being expressed in this album. When you were writing this album, did you have any fears about telling your story by being a public figure?
No, I mean, I've never experienced success at this level and just having so many people actually be so invested and care, because I really don't care about what nobody else got going on. It's none of my business. Even if you my friend, like my friends know they be going through stuff. And if you don't want to tell me, I'm not gonna ask. You know what I'm saying? Because I understand, like, everybody deals with things differently. Everybody has their own capacity. Sometimes you can't process and talk about it at the same time.
Yeah.
And so for me, the album was an outlet. It was a place for me to talk about. I can't really talk about my relationship with my friends or even my family. I go to therapy, but that's something totally different. It's like you kind of have to have some sort of decorum when you're talking to your therapist. You can't just be like, man, you know.
Yeah.
And so the album for me was an outlet. Yeah, it was funny. Is for a lot of the stuff he was right there when I was doing it. So, you know, he heard it before it came out. What? Why you breathe deep like that, though? Huh?
Because I want to be obedient. But I also want to, like, y'all couldn't fight for each other?
You know, I think that sometimes when you are offering up the tools and the other person doesn't want to do the work, then you just kind of have to let it be.
I don't know him, but I'm saying this to my audience. As a person who can be a lot, I think the thing that my person gives me is patience. And I ain't about to be sitting all around waiting on you. No, it's not that. But it's also the person that you met and the person that he met is completely different than the person that's sitting right here. So,
you know, I'm trying to be gracious in it, you know, but I will say, like, there's a lot of things going on that people don't know that really is nobody's business. But I'll say, like, there are certain behaviors that are just unacceptable.
yes, ma'am.
When you're in a relationship, right? We don't put our hands on each other, right? And we don't disrespect each other. Mm-hmm. If that's constantly happening, you gotta go. You know?
Block.
You gotta go. If you can't express yourself without resorting to violence, that's a no-no. And you take that how you want to take that.
Oh, it's...
Because I know, you know, people keep saying that to me. Of like, oh, why you didn't try? Why? Listen, how do you know that I didn't?
Facts.
You don't. And there's only so much that a person can take.
Facts.
You know? That's why I said it doesn't matter how good you are. It doesn't matter how much you working on yourself and you doing. If the nigga want to be a nigga, that's what he gonna do. And that's it. All I can do is offer you the opportunity and the space to grow, if you don't want to do that, I can't force you. A lot of times men don't get until you gone. And then you want to clean it up. It's too late, player. You know? And I say that with all the love. I'm not trying to be rude or talk bad about anybody. This is just my experience.
This is grace.
You know, still love you, but just over there.
Say less.
All right, y'all, that is my morning word. Until next time, love yourself, protect your energy, and deal with life's bullshit with grace and gratitude. Love y'all.
If you're looking for a Black-owned, high-vibrational spiritual shop to buy your essential healing journey tools, then check out the Vibe Collection. We currently just started adding digital products to our healing hub, but what we are known for is our luxury crystal waist beads. We have a variety of crystals and we have a variety of sizes. Last but not least, if you're looking for a place to purchase Florida water, sage, Palo Santo, smudge spray, abalone shell, and more, please check out our shop. We have a smudge kit you don't want to miss. Use the link in the description area to receive free shipping on your first order.